You want to increase your assets faster, and maybe you already have an interesting investment but not enough equity to generate a high return. In this video, you will learn what the leverage effect is and how you can use it to increase your assets significantly faster, and what you must pay attention to. I will explain the whole thing to you with the help of an example. Not a subscriber yet? Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're interested in financial education, tips and tricks that can be implemented directly in life. Also, please let me know in what topics you're interested in. I've got your back and I'll cover it up. The leverage effect has a multiplier effect on the return on equity. By raising debt capital, the assets, i.e. the owner's equity, can be increased. Let me explain this with an example. Let's assume that Paul has $10,000 of equity available. He invests this amount into a project that generates a 10% return. At the end of the project, Paul receives $11,000. Here, however, the leverage effect does not yet apply because Paul has only invested his own capital. The 10% return, i.e. the 1,000 euros, is not enough for Paul. Therefore, he uses the leverage effect to generate a higher return on equity. In addition to the $10,000, he takes out a loan of $20,000 for an interest rate of 5%. So in total, Paul now invests the initial capital of $30,000 at a return of 10% and owns $33,000 at the end of the project. Of these $33,000, Paul must of course repay the borrowed capital of $20,000. In addition, the interest costs for the loan must be paid, so in total, Paul pays back $21,000 to the bank. Paul keeps the remaining $12,000 for himself and has now increased his equity by $2,000. By increasing the borrowed capital, Paul was able to increase his return on equity from 10% to 20%. How is that possible? The investment sum of $30,000 can be divided into debt and equity. The invested equity of $10,000 generates 10% return, i.e. $1,000, and thus also increases Paul's equity by $1,000. The debt capital of $20,000 generates $22,000. Of this, the capital of $20,000 must be repaid and an additional 5% interest, i.e. $1,000, must be paid on the $20,000. So $21,000 goes back to the bank and the remaining $1,000 increases the equity. From this breakdown, it can be seen that the return on the project and the interest rate on the debt are critical to the leverage effect. If the interest rate on the debt were 10%, the borrowing would have no effect on equity because what the investment earns as a return is paid back in full as a cost to the bank. It can be concluded from this that the return on the investment must always be higher than the interest rate on the loan in order to have a positive effect on equity. If the return on the investment were even lower than the interest cost of the loan, the return on equity would actually be reduced. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss out on our future content. Well, that's it for now, so stay smart and think long term.